Get out of my house. Linda's voice carried across the front lawn, where she'd thrown my suitcases. My clothes spilled onto the grass. Neighbors slowed their evening walks. My husband stood frozen on the porch, mouth open but silent. His sister smirked from the doorway. Linda's chest heaved with righteous anger, her finger pointed at me like a weapon. I will not be disrespected under my own roof. You want to question me? Fine, do it somewhere else. The audience she'd gathered waited for me to cry, to beg, to apologize. I did none of those things. I walked down the steps, picked up my largest suitcase, and met her eyes. Okay, I said quietly. Her triumph faltered for just a second. Confusion flickered across her face. I grabbed my other bag, my purse, my keys. I didn't look back at my husband. I got in my car and drove away. She had no idea what she'd just done. My name is Catherine. I'm 35, a senior financial analyst at a consulting firm. I've been married to David for 8 years, and for the last 4, we've lived in what his mother calls the family house. What Linda doesn't know is that the family house is actually in my name. I bought it when David's credit couldn't qualify for the mortgage. Linda moved into the guest house 2 years ago after her husband passed, and somehow convinced herself she was doing us a favor, that this was still her domain. She made decisions about paint colors, about landscaping, about who was welcome for holidays. And I let her, because keeping the peace seemed easier than claiming authority. I managed everything quietly. The mortgage, the taxes, the utilities, the insurance. She had no idea. Linda had no idea what it cost to run her house. The mortgage was $2,400 a month. Property taxes, another $650. Homeowners insurance, $280. The utilities, water, electric, gas, internet, came to $420. Groceries for all of us, $800, because Linda had opinions about organic produce and imported cheeses. Maintenance, landscaping, repairs, averaged $350. Her car insurance, $180 because she was still on our family plan. Her health insurance supplement, $320. Her prescriptions, $200 because Medicare didn't cover everything. I paid it all, every month. For 4 years, that's $6,600 monthly, nearly $80,000 a year, over $300,000 total. I handled everything online. Automatic payments, direct deposits, digital statements. Linda never saw a bill. She thought the house just existed. That family money from some mysterious source kept everything running. David knew, vaguely, that I handled finances, but he never looked at the numbers. Never asked, never told his mother. I stayed quiet because I kept hoping that if I just kept the peace, she'd eventually see me as family, not competition. I was wrong. The money was just one part of it. Linda treated me like a long-term guest who'd overstayed her welcome. She rearranged my kitchen cabinets because they made no sense. She repainted the living room without asking, said the color I'd chosen was depressing. When my friends came over, she made comments about the noise, the timing, the appropriateness. She criticized how I dressed for work, too formal, she said, like I was trying too hard. When David and I talked about starting a family, she told him privately that she wasn't sure I was maternal enough. He told me later, laughing, like it was a joke. I stopped laughing. At dinner parties, she introduced me as David's wife, but never by name, like I was a role, not a person. When I tried to make decisions about holiday plans or home repairs, she'd override me. Let's not be hasty, Catherine, then she'd decide herself. David never defended me, never once. He'd shrug and say, that's just how she is. The breaking point was building for years. It started over paint samples. I'd chosen a soft gray for the guest bathroom. Linda found the samples on the counter and confronted me at dinner, in front of David and his sister who was visiting. Gray in my bathroom, I corrected her gently. It's the guest bathroom, Linda. I thought it was time to update. Her face flushed. Update? What's wrong with it? Nothing's wrong. I just wanted a change. A change in my house. I felt something snap. Actually, Linda, it's my house. My name is on the deed. I've been paying the mortgage for 4 years. The table went silent. David's fork stopped midway to his mouth. His sister's eyes went wide. Linda stood up, shaking. How dare you throw that in my face? After everything I've done for this family. What have you done exactly? That's when she exploded. Get out of MY house, now. I looked at David. He looked at his plate. That's when I knew I was done. I stood up from the table. Okay, I said just that. Okay. Linda blinked. She'd expected tears, arguments, apologies. I walked to the bedroom and pulled my suitcase from the closet. David followed, hovering in the doorway. Catherine, come on, just apologize. You know how she gets. I packed my laptop, my work files, my toiletries, essentials only. Catherine, please don't do this. I zipped the suitcase, grabbed my purse, my phone charger, my keys. Linda had followed us upstairs. She stood in the hallway, arms crossed, waiting for me to break. I walked past her, down the stairs. David called after me, "Where are you going?" I didn't answer. His sister watched from the kitchen, frozen. I opened the front door. Linda's voice cracked slightly. "You're really leaving?" I met her eyes one last time. "You told me to." The door closed behind me on their stunned silence. I checked into a hotel downtown, a quiet room on the 8th floor with city lights outside the window. I ordered room service, took a long shower, and slept 10 hours straight. No tension headache, no walking on eggshells, just silence. Meanwhile, back at the house, Linda was triumphant. She called her sister, her book club friends, telling everyone how she'd finally stood her ground, how I'd been disrespectful, how she'd put me in my place. David sat on the couch scrolling his phone, caught between his mother's satisfaction and a growing knot in his stomach. Linda kept checking her phone, waiting. She expected me to call by morning, apologizing, begging to come back. Morning came, then the next day, then the next. My phone stayed silent, so did hers. The waiting game had begun. And I wasn't playing. On day 3, I started making calls. First, my bank. I canceled all automatic payments linked to the house. Mortgage, utilities, insurance, everything. The representative asked if I was sure. Completely sure, I said. I removed my name from the utility accounts, transferred them to David's name only. He'd have to set up his own payment methods now. I called the insurance company, canceled the homeowner's policy and the car insurance covering Linda's vehicle, effective immediately. I closed our joint checking account, transferred my half to my personal account. I scheduled a consultation with a divorce attorney just to understand my options. David started texting. "We need to talk." Then calling. I didn't answer. I forwarded every confirmation email to my personal folder. Dates, amounts, cancellation notices. A paper trail. I wasn't acting out of anger. I was being methodical, strategic. I wasn't coming back, and my money wasn't either. The mortgage company called on the 15th. Payment hadn't been received. David stared at his phone, confused. The payment always just happened automatically. He checked the bank account, nothing scheduled. He called me, voicemail. Then the electric company sent a notice. Service would be disconnected in 10 days without payment. Linda found it in the mail. "David, what's this?" He took the letter, his face draining of color. "I don't know." Catherine always handled the utilities. "Well, call her, get this sorted out." He tried again, no answer. Then the insurance company sent a cancellation notice. Coverage had lapsed. Linda waved it away. "This is ridiculous. These companies make mistakes all the time. Just pay the bills, David. We'll straighten it out later." But David was starting to understand. The water bill arrived, the gas bill, property tax notice, all of them suddenly visible, suddenly his responsibility. He looked at the amounts. His hands started shaking. "Mom," he said slowly. "Catherine was paying for everything." David printed out the bank statements, 4 years of transactions. He sat his mother down at the kitchen table and spread them out like evidence. "Look at this, Mom. Mortgage, $2,400. Property taxes, $650. Insurance, $280. Utilities, $420. Groceries, $800. The list went on. Linda's car insurance, her health insurance supplement, her prescriptions. This is every month, Linda whispered. Every single month for 4 years. David pulled up the calculator on his phone. $6,600 a month. Times 48 months. He showed her the screen. $316,800. Linda's face went white. She looked around the kitchen, the house she'd called hers, the home she'd ruled over. The granite countertops Catherine had chosen. The appliances Catherine had bought. The furniture, the landscaping, the repairs. She was paying for everything, David said, his voice hollow. Everything, Linda's denial crumbled. But this is the family house, this is. She stopped. It wasn't. It never had been. Linda called first. I answered on the 4th ring. Catherine, we need to talk about the bills. Not hello, not I'm sorry, just the bills. What about them? Well, they're piling up. David doesn't know how to handle all this. Can you just come back and we'll sort this out? No, silence. What do you mean no? I mean I'm out of your house, Linda, as you requested. The expenses left with me. I hung up. David called an hour later, begging. Catherine, please, I can't afford this. The mortgage alone is more than half my salary. We need you. You needed me before, too. You just didn't notice. Linda tried again the next day. How can you abandon family like this? What kind of person are you? I stayed calm. I'm not abandoning anyone, Linda. I'm simply no longer funding people who treat me like a guest in my own home. When are you coming back? I don't know that I am. The electricity was shut off after 30 days. David paid the reconnection fee, plus late charges, $340 he couldn't spare. Linda tried to cover the water bill herself. Her Social Security check couldn't stretch that far. The landscaping service stopped coming. The lawn turned brown. David's salary covered the mortgage, barely, but nothing else. They stopped buying organic groceries, stopped eating out. Linda's book club noticed she wasn't hosting anymore. Then her sister called, asking questions. Word was spreading. I heard Catherine left you. What happened? Linda's explanations sounded weaker each time. The house she'd ruled over was crumbling without the foundation she'd never seen. Late fees piled up. Collection notices arrived. Their standard of living dropped sharply, suddenly, and everyone was watching. Linda's embarrassment turned into something heavier. Shame. Reality had finally set in. 6 weeks after I left, Linda called again. Her voice was different. Smaller. Catherine, I need to say something. I was wrong, completely wrong. I took you for granted. I treated you terribly. And I had no right to order you out of a home you were paying for. I'm sorry. No excuses followed. No justifications. Just the apology. David got on the line. I'm sorry, too. I should have defended you. I should have seen what was happening. I failed you. I sat with the silence for a moment. I accept your apology, I said quietly. Linda's breath caught, hopeful. When are you coming home? I don't know that I am, Linda. If we rebuild this, it won't be on the old terms. Everything has to change. We met at a coffee shop, neutral ground. I came with a list. If I come back, things change. The house stays in my name only. Linda, you're welcome to stay in the guest house, but household decisions are mine. No more overruling me. No more rearranging my kitchen. Linda nodded slowly. Expenses will be transparent. I'll manage them, but everyone sees what things cost. And when I pay for something, it gets acknowledged. David agreed immediately. And we're doing marriage counseling, non-negotiable. Okay, he said. Linda, you'll contribute what you can afford to groceries, but you don't get to control the menu or criticize my choices. She swallowed hard. I understand. It was uncomfortable, awkward. Linda wasn't in charge anymore, and we all felt it. But for the first time, there was respect. Real respect. Not the performance of family, but the foundation of it. I learned something crucial through all of this. Silence about your contributions doesn't keep the peace. It just gives people permission to take you for granted. Linda's power was never real. It was an illusion I allowed by staying quiet, by managing everything invisibly, by hoping effort would eventually earn respect. It doesn't work that way. Walking away revealed the truth. I wasn't a guest in that house. I was the foundation, and foundations don't beg for acknowledgement. They simply withdraw and everything collapses. There's a difference between being family and being used by family. Real family sees your value before you have to prove it. Real family doesn't wait until the bills bounce to say thank you. I wasn't asking for gratitude anymore. I was requiring respect, and that changed everything. Script 2, you know what this family needs. My brother Jason stood up at Thanksgiving dinner, wine glass